Amidst all the news in the aftermath of the Boston bombings, there's been one story that's been completely swept under the rug. The death of a 27-year-old Chechen man named Ibragim Todashev. About a month after the horrific tragedy, the FBI was interrogating Todashev at his home about an alleged association he had with the bombings. But before any connection was actually proven, he was shot and killed by FBI agents. First, the official narrative said that he had pulled a gun out. Then it changed to a knife. However, all of that quickly fell apart when they were forced to admit that he was completely unarmed. Being trained in martial arts, they claimed that his body was the weapon and that he'd attacked them, thereby justifying the use of deadly force. In the end, Todashev was shot 7 times, once in the head. But even though we know how he was killed, we're still left wondering why. At this point, there are too many questions to count, including why the FBI is now barring Todashev's autopsy from being released. Well, the ACLU has launched an investigation and is probing for answers in the case. And my next guest, is on the hunt for them too. She's the wife of Ibragim Todashev, and she joined me earlier to talk about the official narrative and why she thinks it's not true. I first asked her why she believes the FBI even began to question her husband in the first place. And here's what she had to say.
Since they brought the connection with the bombing and him knowing the Tamerlan Tsarnaev, and as every other Chechenian guys were there questioned, and Ibrahim used to live in Boston, so he was pretty more close person because he lived there. So that's how it starts, and that's the only reason I can think.
So what kind of connection did he have with him? I mean, was there any sort of thing that would have warranted such a harsh interrogation?
No, there's no connection. They were never friends. Even living in Boston, they just attend to the same gym. They were same origin from the Chechnya, and that's how they know each other.
So you said that you actually have proof that he's not connected to the bombings at all. What is that?
Of course. He had his knee surgery not a long time ago. It was end of the March. And the day of the bombing, he was actually at the visiting doctor. So he was still in his crunches. He had a huge surgery on his knee, and he was limping at the time when the FBI killed him.
But could he have still had involvement remotely, even though he wasn't actually in Boston at the time?
No, he didn't. He does not have any phone connection with the Tamerlan. He never spoke with him. The only day when he spoke with him after his surgery, Tamerlan just called him for a few minutes and asked him how he's doing after the surgery. That's just a random curious how he's doing.
And so there was never anything sketchy that he brought up about Tamerlan or the Tsarnaev brothers at all to you? That was never mentioned at all, even though he had known him at the gym?
No, never.
Okay, let's talk about what happened when he was killed. Do you have any idea of how many FBI agents were actually there during the interrogation?
When there was 3 of them until 11:30 p.m. of the 21st, because they came at 7:30 p.m. So they questioned him for 4 hours, and Hussein, which is his friend, he was with him when they came to the house. There was 3 Boston agents who went inside to the house with Ibrahim, and 1 local agent was with Hussein outside of the apartment.
Let's go over what the police narrative has been. First, they said that he was armed with a gun. Then it was a knife. Then it came out that he was completely unarmed, but attacked them and was killed in self-defense. You've said that this last statement is a lie. Why?
No, the last statement, they brought actually more than you just pronounced. They have said the blade, then the chair, then the table, a sword. We had a sword at home, decorative sword. That's what they said. And the last one version was he had a broom or a metal pole. So they not even sure what he had, since they've been changing their statements keep over and over. But I do know he was unarmed, and that's what I agree with, that he was unarmed.
And do you think that there's any credibility at all to the statement that himself, I mean, his body was a deadly weapon because he was an MMA fighter?
At that point, no, because she just got off his crunches maybe a few days before. He was still limping. He was still in pain with his knee.
And let's actually take a look at that photo. You're talking about extensive knee surgery. I mean, multiple staples, very extensive surgery.
Correct.
Looks really painful. I mean, and this was very recent before he was interrogated.
Correct. That's actually his second surgery. First one he had in 2010, and this is his second surgery over the same problem that he had.
And when this happened, did the FBI agents prove to you that they were injured and had to use self-defense by execution?
No, they are not talking to us. They are not saying anything. They just the only thing they said is open investigation. We're not releasing anything.
So what happened? I mean, you came home and found this out. Did they call you? I mean, how did you even find out that this had taken place?
Actually, I was in a different state. I was in Atlanta, Georgia, because I was working there. So when they came, they called me sometime after a little bit 7 a.m. and they told me to stay at work. They're coming to talk to me. But just a few minutes after, one of my friends texted me a message that I'm watching news right now and your husband get killed in Orlando. And that's what that's how pretty much I found out to my friend.
I'm really sorry that you had to find out such a horrible way and that this happened to you. It's very traumatizing, and there's a lot of unexplained things about the case. He was shot 7 times, once in the head. We have photos of that, of the autopsy as well. Why do you think it is that they executed him?
I do not know. I can't even say why. It was just, I don't know. There was, if you saw the pictures, there was 5 deadly shots. If they were trying to say there was a self-defense, they were trying to stop him, that is so unacceptable to how you stop the person. There is not a single shot in the arm, in the legs, anywhere. It was 3 in heart, 1 in liver, 1 in the head. So that's just a straight death.
I'm really sorry. I know that this must be very hard for you. And yes, I mean, they could have easily shot him in the leg, in the arm, taken him down other ways, but they chose to execute him. There's clearly a kill shot in his head. They claim that he confessed to the unsolved murder of 3 people before he was actually killed. Do you believe that? Do you feel like that was a forced confession, or did that even happen?
I don't think if it's even happened. If that's what happened, they would need a live person. The only thing I can think that he declined to sign the confession that they want him to sign, and that's why they just get him down.
So what happened? I mean, what do you think? I know that it's hard to speculate and it's very traumatic, but what do you think that they're trying to cover up here, and why did they do this?
It's hard for me to say. Believe me, I think every night before I go to sleep, I'm trying to picture that night of what happened in there. How was it? Where they were sitting? What they were doing? What they were talking about? I can't even picture it. It's not in my head. He also has a bruise on his eye, which means they actually hit him before they killed him, because he never had that bruise on next to his eye, and it looks like it was a punch with something hard, because he actually had a little hole in there, I would say.
So he had other wounds before he was actually shot. Do you think that this has anything at all to do with the Boston bombing, some sort of cover-up going on there, or kind of stonewalling of answers or investigation in light of that, and the death of your husband had to do with something sketchy going on with that?
It possibly that they are trying to cover something up, but I think by killing Ibrahim, they even bring that more suspicious of the bombing situation.
What do you mean by that?
If they that's how they start, that they trying to put him that he was involved in that, and if they killed one brother, Tamerlan, so they need somebody alive who can speak and tell them of what happened. If they was thinking that Ibrahim was involved in there, but they straight just killed him, which means they did not need a live person, which means they were not trying to see what actually happened.
So you're saying that he could have been a witness potentially for the innocence of the Sarnaev brothers?
He's definitely not. No, he's definitely not a witness. He didn't know anything. But that's how they bring in the story up, that they're trying to connect him with the Boston bombing.
Well, let's talk about the investigation now. I mean, what's the process like? Are you trying to pursue answers in a criminal investigation or a criminal lawsuit against the U.S. government in the case of Ibrahim?
Yes, we do. We get the private investigator. So everything is being right now in private with us. So they do every single things they can do to bring this up. But since the FBI holding the autopsy report, we cannot get this report. That's not a thing that we are waiting on.
Right, and that's very important key in all this is that the autopsy report is being refused to release. Have you been given a statement of why that is?
I got the email from the doctor that he said the FBI said to hold on to it, not to release it until they prove it.
I hope that you get the answers that you're seeking. This is a very important case. It needs to be brought to light. Justice needs to be served. Accountability needs to be had. It's just a really tragic case, and I really thank you so much for coming on and shedding some light on it. I know it must be very hard for you to talk about. Please, we'll stay on top of it. We'll keep asking the questions, and let's keep doing it until we get the answers. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you.